Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Soul Space, Monday night at 7 p.m. with Strong Island Television. So today's episode of the podcast Soul Space is pre-recorded because today is the first day of spring equinox and tomorrow is a new moon in Aries. So I'll be doing ceremony tonight and I won't be able to be live on air. So today's show, I'd love to talk to you about the full moon in Aries, which happens on March 21st, which is preceded by today's energy, Monday, March 20th, the first day of spring, known as the spring equinox. This is a great time for new beginnings, and I want to guide you in the best way to use all of this energy. We've got a jam-packed week coming up energetically, spiritually. The cosmos are really working with us with some really intense energy. Last week was also intense, and this week is just like last. A little bit less intense maybe, but it's still a very intense week. So what have we got for you this week? Well, first of all, we start out the week Monday with the spring equinox, and that means the sun is at 0 degrees of Aries. What does that mean? Well, 0 degrees of Aries is a starting point. It's an initiation of all brand new energy. In the astrology circles, we actually know that as the astrology new year. The first day of spring is when the cycle just resets and restarts every year as the sun goes around the globe. And so the zodiac globe. And so April, 0 degree of energy, Aries, 0 degree of Aries energy and the spring equinox is a great time to plant seeds for anything that you want new. It closes out the old energy from the prior year, our trip around the sun, and opens up a whole new year for us. It's also very powerful this year because it's very rare that we have the spring equinox right on the tip of a brand new moon, which is also happening in Aries at that 0 degree point. So this is energy that is so initiating, so starting of fresh new things. If there's anything that maybe you've been struggling with over the last few months or the last year that you really haven't been able to put the pedal to the metal and get going on, this is the energy that is going to just bring it forward as long as you show the universe what you really want. And that has to be really positive, steeped in love. And then the universe will obviously grant it to us over the next few months and the next year. So Aries energy is starting energy. It's what's known to us in the zodiac and astrology circles as cardinal. It likes to start things. As a matter of fact, many CEOs and business owners and project heads are Aries personalities, Aries sun, moon, or rising, because Aries is the initiator. It's the powerhouse. It's the ram. It comes in with its horns, right? And moves everything out of the way in order to start things new. So you really want to take complete control of anything in your life that is negative. You have a few more hours to get rid of that and put real positivity in. You want to show the universe here what your intention is, what your seed is, and the way you really want your life to be like by demonstrating that to the universe and to energy. Energy, our attention goes, whatever we focus on is where the energy goes. So you want your attention to be focused on real positive stuff and really what you desire, not what you don't desire. Make sure that the next couple of days, when we have this beautiful spring equinox and the new moon in Aries, that you really are focusing and walking the walk for what you truly want to manifest and bring into your life. There's a lot of other things happening this week that also will manifest energy. As you know, on March 7th, we just had Saturn moving into Pisces. So that closed out the former energy of the zodiac sign before, and now brings in new energy also of what Saturn is like in Pisces. If you want more specific information about that, you can go on my page, Zenkuda Soul Space or Georgia Rose on Facebook, and you'll see some posts about exactly how to utilize the energy of Saturn in Pisces. Now, over the weekend, I also did a nice post about this spring equinox energy and the new moon energy. So you can get more information on my page about that too. And also, if you want to share this show, I'd really love it. And I can do something for you if you do that, because we'll enter your name in the raffle to win a personal reading with me, Georgia Rose. That can be a zodiac astrology chart reading. It can be a mediumship reading to get in touch with some loved ones that have passed, or it can be a tarot reading. And we can do that live on the show via Zoom or you in the studio, or I can do it privately for you and you don't have to be on the show. So even if you're out of state, if you're across the globe, if you're in another continent, still enter that raffle by sharing the show and we'll enter your name. So getting back to the astrology for this week, and that's one of the other reasons why I wanted to do this show recorded, because I really wanted to give you all the information you need for the stars to guide you into a beautiful new cycle of energy. And I didn't really want to do too many cards or take too many calls today, because this energy is so important for us in birthing what we really want to desire in our lives. So we've got this beautiful equinox energy, initiation, starting things. This is also an energy with some of the cycles that we have of clearing out a lot of debris, things that maybe we've been struggling with for the past year now. We're going to really be able to put that pedal to the metal and get them to go. So this is a great week for initiating things. That doesn't mean it's going to be an easy week. There's going to be a lot of things that we have to let go of, because we have some ending cycles as well. The most important of that begins with this new moon Tuesday, which comes in. When the Aries new moon hits us on Tuesday, it's going to want us to move forward in our life. It's going to want us to look at the places where maybe we're allowing negativity to get us stuck. Aries doesn't like that. Like I said, it's the ram. It charges in. It wants to, move everything out of the way so it can keep going. So if there's any area of your life where you've been stuck, or where the energy is really stagnated, or you're going around in circles with something, you're definitely going to feel a push to end that cycle, maybe have a new perception about it, or heal. It's also going to give us an energy come a little later in the week, around Wednesday, Thursday, that is going to actually give us a good place to be able to heal. And that's because the planet Chiron is also in Aries, and that's the wounded healer. That's the planet of someone who wants to heal something they've brought in, maybe through possibly another life, or through the accumulations and conditioning we've done in this life, through parental influences or other influences that have harmed us, and we need to heal them. I know a lot of people don't like that expression, wounded healer, because it makes you stay in the wound. And especially this energy this week of all that Aries energy, and the moon is going to be conjuncting a Chiron, that planet of that woundedness. We don't want to stay in the wound. You don't want to be a wounded healer. You want to be someone who is completely healed. The object of the wounds in our life is always healing. The intention is always healing for any energy that comes into us that is divinely guided. But if we stay in the wound, a lot of times people say, oh, I've healed, but if they had a Band-Aid on there and you ripped it off, you'd still see something. Truly healing means you don't even have a scar anymore, that you've healed it and now you are completely renewed, regenerated, and purified. That's the object that we all want to get to. And this energy allows us to do that. As the planet, the moon, travels through that Aries energy, it's going to touch on a lot of planets this week. It's going to touch Mercury, which makes us have new perceptions in our mind, that beautiful energetic newness that we feel, almost feeling like we have a beginner's mind about something we've been ruminating a while. It's going to touch, like I just said, on that planet Chiron, where everything just gets expanded for a bit. Jupiter is 2 degrees away from that planet Chiron. Jupiter expands everything. So the week's going to go where we have this new energy of initiation coming in, the spring equinox, a beautiful time of celebration. Then, as the sun travels through Aries this month, and the moon travels through much quicker, right? After Tuesday's new moon in Aries, you're going to find that as the moon touches Mercury, we now are able to see things a little bit more clearer. We have some clarity. We want to move forward with our minds, but yet the moon is still allowing us to have those emotions. And what that does is it makes us be logical, and it makes us move forward. It makes us plan our projects, but still has a foundation in a very emotional, I'm looking at my notes, I'm sorry, I'm looking down, a very emotional foundation, a very emotional balance. Also, this new moon is squaring Mars 3 hours after it is new. That's an energy also of initiation. Mars is in the last degrees of Gemini, where it also is going to switch signs around Wednesday or Thursday into Cancer. So we've got almost all these major planets shifting gears and giving us a fresh new perspective of things. So as the week progresses, we're going to have a lot of initiation energy. Then it's going to be a little bit of a back and forth as the moon glides through Aries and starts hitting some other planets, which give us some energy. First one being Mercury. When it hits Mercury, now the mind comes in, wants to initiate things, but we're a little emotional about it. Then the planet hits Jupiter, the moon hits Jupiter and Chiron. And now that energy of the emotions is expanded, yet our energy of wanting to go, go, go is expanded. Chiron brings in the wounds that we need to heal in order to move forward, to unstick us. So then it becomes a time where we're really able to forgive and heal. Because if we use the power of that square to Mars, that assertion, that can be aggression, we can use it for bravery and valor instead of aggression, like we want to fight with somebody about moving something forward. We are frustrated, maybe. That's a lower octave of that energy later in the week, Wednesday or Thursday, as that moon comes through Mercury, hits Jupiter, Chiron, squaring that Mars, boom, boom, boom energy. Best use of it is go inward, really touch on that emotion, that heart space as the moon progresses through all the planets in Aries, and allow yourself this flow and this interchange, this integration. Because as we approach Chiron and Jupiter expands that energy of that woundedness, that healing that can take place in the higher octave, and the assertion using Mars as our driver, as our motivation, our ambition to want to be healed and want to forgive. That's going to be the energy that comes in Wednesday and Thursday. But there's some energy behind it, which I'm going to get to in a minute. But sticking with this energy, the best use of it is to go within, really set your foundation for the things that you want in your life, what you desire, and then use that crankiness, that a little bit of aggression that you feel, turn it into assertion to allow you to be ambitious and be having bravery and valor about what you want to heal in your life. So you're no longer stuck, you're no longer frustrated, you're now able to move forward and purify in a way that now you can take all this new energy, some of which is energy we haven't had for 200 years, and bring it forward to really birth a new you and really create something you've been desiring in your life for a long time, maybe your whole lifetime. And now you get to step into your true authenticity with that. That's how powerful this week can be. Now, there's lower energy too, which I'll get to, as I said, in a minute. But as we go through this Aryan energy, we do have the ability to really heal a lot of things, bring our life forward without the wound, and also go into forgiveness. And what I want to remind you guys about this, and taking this lesson myself as well, right? Because we're in a community here with Zenkuda, and we all learn from each other. That's what I love about this. Such great energy. When it comes to forgiveness, we do it for ourselves. We do it because just like this energy I'm talking about, where, it's never a coincidence that the cosmos give us an energy that passes through other energy sequentially and in a certain chronology, because as we pass through, the Aryan energy of the new moon and the spring equinox and that 0 point of creating anything that we truly desire in our life, now the planet progresses and through the sign, through Mercury, where our minds can actually envision it. And then we go through Jupiter, which just expands it. And then Chiron brings up the healing we need to do in the wound in this powerful energy of moving forward, right? So now we bring ourselves to forgiveness, forgiving ourselves, right? But also forgiving the other, forgiving however that wound originated, going back to that 0 point energy to redo it, purify it, right? Because that's where we can really step into our full potential. Because in forgiving, we have freedom. And that's what the ram wants, right? The Aries ram, that energy, when it comes into that beautiful cosmic area of hitting the moon and our emotions and Jupiter and Chiron and all these beautiful planets that have a personality to bring us energy into our bodies and our minds and our essence and our soul. What does that ram really want? It wants to go forward, free and ambitious and brave and just taking no prisoners, but just living in that beautiful energy of expansion and purification, right? So what a beautiful thing that is, and what a beautiful week that is. And so all of these things are really coming together for us. Mars leaves Gemini then, just as it's done that square of the moon. Now we're done with that square, which is an energy of conflict between the moon and all these planets in Aries, and it goes into Taurus. And so that happens. And when Mars does that, that's Saturday, March 25th. And now the energy eases a little bit, because Mars in Cancer is an energy where we can be defensive, because, Cancer is the crab, the shell, pull it over my head. I don't like what you said. I'm going home for a week and I'm not speaking to you. I'm ghosting you. That's Mars in Cancer. Okay. But Mars in Cancer also is the defender, right? So if you've had wounds that you've worked on while Moon was in Aries, and all these planets are, in Aries, forming all this energy that we just talked about of moving forward in forgiveness and healing, if you've worked with that, and when Mars goes into Cancer next Saturday, there's also a great energy with that beautiful crab. Mars is a water sign, it's emotional, but it's defensive, right? It can, anyone who knows the Cancer crab, they go into their shell, they're defensive. But we can take that lesson of defense. Mars in Cancer is all about the family, siblings, children, parental energy. We can take that energy of defense and bring ourselves the energy of defending ourselves as we grow out of those wounds, as we purify, and realizing that in order to defend ourselves, we don't have to be defensive. We don't have to be on the defense. The best way to defend ourselves is to be brave enough to face whatever the challenge is so that it's not a threat anymore. Okay. And that's how the week progresses. So use the energy for that. And if you're intuitive and you're open and you're highly, perceptive and sensitive in this energy, you're going to be feeling all this as the week goes through. So it's almost like we get wrung out a little bit. It's exhausting. We have a lot of energy that we want to do. But that's how the week progresses. And then there's this other energy that comes in, which is a very profound energy. And there's profound energy all throughout this week. I mean, if I described it all to you, your heads would be spinning with all these planetary shifts and things. So I'm going to try to give the rest a little bit more simplistically. There's a lot of things. Uranus is playing into this, which is the sudden, unexpected twists and turns. We're going to have those this week. We're going to see them play out globally. It's a week where communication is very heightened. Mercury in Aries is war of words. And as the planets, the moon and the sun hit that, over the course of this month, and especially this week, we're going to want to blurt things out. We're going to say the wrong thing. We're going to, oh, why did I say that? Oh, I didn't mean that. We're going to be angry at the wrong person. That's the energy just overall now. But for those of us who are in a little bit of a higher consciousness, you know when to hold your tongue. You know when to go into your breath so you're not saying things. You know when not to have those meetings that are conflicting, right? So this is a week you got to watch that. That energy is going to be with us for a little while. But because we've got this beautiful push into the future, there's also a lot of emotion. Forgiveness and healing doesn't come easily. It doesn't always come gently. We set our intention and we pray for that, especially set the intention with the new moon that you are ready to step into the next step of your cosmic journey, of your spiritual divinity, but gently and with ease, because we've all had those, slaps in the back of the head that we could have lived without, right? But it's a week of letting go. It's a week of moving into new energy. It's beautiful and welcome, but it also means we're leaving some things behind and we're ending other things. And that is an energy that's very powerful because on Thursday, we have one of the biggest transitions of the year happening. And that's when Pluto goes into Aquarius. Now, Saturn went into Pisces March 7th. That was a huge change for us. A lot of you are feeling that. I know a lot of my Pisces friends had things happen very unexpectedly when that happened, and you're going to be feeling that really strongly for the next 3 years. Remember, Saturn is the planet that likes tradition. It wants to hold on to the old structures, but it also makes things fall so that we can build them new, and likes those foundations. And sometimes when Saturn goes into a sign, we're not going to want to let go of the old, even though Saturn is going to crumble them a little bit or restrict them so that we have to look at them and change them. Saturn doesn't want to dissolve things. That's Pluto's job. Saturn wants to bring us awareness to the things where there's cracks in the driveway. We've been neglecting things. We've been doing things that maybe we shouldn't, or procrastinating. That's Saturn, and it's going to bring those to the surface. It's going to tweak them. It's going to make those little volcanoes erupt so that we have to take care of it. So wherever Pisces is in your zodiac chart, that's those things. I have a long dissertation about it on my Facebook page. You can go there, Soul Space or Georgia Rose, and read more about Saturn and Pisces if you want to. Likewise, there's also a post about the Spring Equinox and the new moon in Aries if you want more information about that. So this big transition of Pluto going into Aquarius, you've been hearing all of the astrologers talk about this. It's a really big shift. Pluto has not been in this area of the zodiac for 240 years. It is the only time we will see Pluto in Aquarius in our lifetime. It's going to be there about 24, a little bit more years. For a lot of people, they will never have Pluto in another sign. For people who are in their 70s or 80s, this is it. This is the only place Pluto is going to be for the rest of your life. This is very profound. It is also profound for a lot of different reasons, which I'm not even going to go into on this video because it's really very advanced astrology. But what I'm going to tell you is that we are about to go into a time that we never have before. We can, a lot of times astrologers use the history of what happened the last time the planet was in a certain degree or sign, and we can kind of guess what's happening. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. But I'm also going to tell you that wherever Aquarius is in your chart is really where, for the next 20 years, you are going to be battling the past with the future. And by battling, I don't mean necessarily bad. Sometimes battles come out good, right? But you're going to be having conflict about, from wherever the house of Aquarius is in your chart, you're going to have a conflict about the old, the past, the structures, the constructs, and the new constructs. And those, whatever house it's in, like suppose it's in family, your house of family and home, your traditions are going to change. Your perceptions about what a family is going to change. Pluto in Aquarius is going to shake them up. For me, Pluto is in Aquarius in my second house. And for me, I know because I've been actually going through this energy because I've had some major transits to my second house over the last several years because it's coming out of Capricorn, Pluto, and my second house is half Capricorn and half Aquarius. So for me, this is huge change in the way I make my living, in what I perceive as a construct of the way the world should be and the world it shouldn't be. The second house is all the things we value, from our possessions to our money, to our Venus things, our heart, our soul space. So for me, I've gone from a completely traditional corporate environment, which still pulls at me, to this beautiful spiritual space where I've created this beautiful brand of Zenkuda and astrology and tarot and spiritual wisdom. And so what did I do? Well, I integrated those two energies of my past and my future. I found a way to combine them, right? I live in the soul space, and I also live in the soul space as a very successful real estate broker. So that's what I do. And I am actually developing in the next few months a podcast called Soul Space. So this is the type of things where you can integrate the energy, but don't be fooled into thinking I'm not pulled in to that egoic mind, that more corporate structure of, no, we need A, B, C to be this hierarchy and it must be this way. And the Aquarian energy of, no, let it flow. We don't really need to have a construct in order to fill our soul's, mission. We have to just flow and be authentic. So that's where it is for me in my chart. And I'm sharing that personally because maybe you guys can apply it to whatever house it's in your charts. And we can go through the houses if you want. If you want a video about that, just put it in the comments. And I will definitely make a video about the houses and what they mean. So Pluto in Aquarius, generally speaking, this is the first time since the 1770s. So let's think a little bit about Pluto going into Aquarius and what was happening in the 1770s. Well, we all know in our country where I live, the United States of America, that was the revolution, right? It was, but think about revolution. What is a revolution? Well, when you take a circle, right? And especially with astrology, because the zodiac is a circle, cosmos is a circle, our planet is a circle, right? And energy, our lives are an ascent and descent, ascent, descent. That's what happens. Everything comes around, goes around, right? So just that word revolution means a revolution. In our minds, society has made revolution a thing where already in our minds we see, people with muskets or the storming of the Capitol. Or revolution means a circle. It means coming full circle. It means coming round the bend, coming round again, right? So when we apply that word revolution to the 1770s, what do we see? We see the French Revolution as well, right? A structure, a construct that was the monarchy for hundreds of years, basically overthrown by a Bill of Rights that gave power to the people, right? Well, what happened in our country, in the United States, in my country, was after years, hundreds of years of a monarch being in control, the Pilgrims all came here, the settlers all came here, right? And they all decided, we don't like that. They're not treating us fairly. We're going to take the power into our own hands. And so they started a revolution, right? What goes around comes around, and we want to take back what we gave to you. And so during this revolution, what did we see? We saw the construct of the monarchy dissolve and a new construct of the way we live in this country, all based on freedom, the idea of freedom, which is a very Aquarian idea. Aquarius energy is the utopia, right? And we'll get to that in a minute. But so the revolution knocks down the monarchy and brings the power to the people. It actually brought in this country or actually in the world, it brought together the very first democracy that we ever saw actually in structure in the material world, right? Pretty powerful energy, this Pluto in Aquarius, I would say. So Pluto in Aquarius wants to destruct, all right, the conceptions. It wants to destruct that where we don't have truth, right? So you take the United States, the revolution. So they felt that it wasn't their truth that the monarchy be dominant over them. And the power went to the people because they wanted to bring their truth forward. But inevitably, if you want to get into an argument, well, our Constitution was formed and the Declaration of Independence, freedom, right, was formed. But it was a construct built on slavery. It was a construct still built on a domination, right? Political parties, all these things. So what's been happening over the last 240 years? All the foundational energies, all those concepts that our revolution was built on, and the country, therefore, then for the last 200 some odd years was built on, they're all getting shook up, right? Because we've come full circle, revolution, back to where we start. So in this energy, we're going to see our concepts, our constructs questioned. Why? Because Pluto wants to bring in the truth. So what is the truth? Well, now we have this country where everything's divided from was COVID real or not real, to should you be allowed to say what gender you are, to your religion isn't right, to we need to separate God from country, to what flag you can put out, to you should wear a mask, you shouldn't wear a mask, you should ride the bus, you shouldn't ride the bus, you should go to this school, you shouldn't go to this school, you're an elitist, you're in the 1%, you're in the other percent, you're purple, you're violet, you're higher consciousness, you're not, you're a star-bellied sneetch and you're not. I just bought that Dr. Seuss book for one of my friends who's having a baby. So everyone should read The Star-Bellied Sneetches by Dr. Seuss, because that's really where we're at right now. It's like Pluto in Aquarius is all about the star-bellied sneetches. So we have all these constructs, and we all are so swearing. We are all so heck bent on this is the truth. This is our truth. This is my truth. Truth is, we don't know what the blasted truth is. But Pluto's going to show us in the next 20 years what the truth is. And that's the point of Pluto. It's going to tear down the way we think and our constructs and our conceptions of things to really bring us into the truth. And that's the Aquarian energy of freedom, of independence, just like the spring equinox and the new moon in Aries is bringing in, as it travels through Aries and touches those other planets, bringing in the energy of forgiveness to heal us and bring us in a new construct, a new perception, a new energetic force field of freedom from the wounds. Pluto in Aquarius is going to do that globally and personally for us. So before we get there, what are we going to see? Well, especially with Mars going into Cancer over the next few weeks, we're going to see people who don't want to move into a new construct. They feel threatened by the idea of a new perception. Utopia, the word utopia comes, I wrote it down because I knew I wouldn't remember it in all this energy. The word utopia actually comes from, where did I put it? The Greek word meaning no place, because it doesn't exist. We all want this beautiful new world, this utopia. We're all, going into the age of Aquarius, which we're not in, by the way. We just have planets going into Aquarius. We're not in the age of Aquarius. We won't be there for a few hundred years. But we all think of this beautiful place in our spiritual lives and our, on our yoga mats, we want to achieve samadhi and, we want to have bliss. And we can do that in our minds and our hearts. But that place in the material world does not exist. Maybe it will one day. I don't know. My mind is completely open to whatever. But the idea of utopia means no place yet. That's Aquarius. That's the Aquarian energy. It wants us to come into the truth and step into a new way of being. It's about not just how we do things for us, but what we bring to the world in order to better the world. The idea of utopia means achieving a place, a perception where we have reached our highest use, our highest essence, our higher spiritual nature, our highest nature with each other in relationship to each other and the world. And so I'm not saying that we're going to get there in 20 years, but I'm saying that every step of the way to get to that higher knowledge, the higher being, comes with letting go of a construct that doesn't allow us to go there. And that's what Saturn in Pisces, that's what Pluto in Aquarius is doing. And all these planets changing at this very moment isn't a coincidence. It's doing it to bring us into a new birth and a new world. So how do we use this energy in our everyday, ordinary lives? Getting up, feeding the baby, feeding the dog, taking the dog to the groomer, laundering our clothes, cleaning the house, going to work, having our friendships, having our marriages, our spouses, our relationships, raising our children. How do we bring this energy into that? We do it by being conscious. We do it by being present. That's really what the cosmos want from us, in a loving way. When we get into a conflict with someone, or we hear something on the news or the TV that doesn't match up with our way of being, with what we think is true about COVID, about race, about religion, about spirituality, about the color our carpet should be, not stepping into the defense, the aggression, the division, but stepping into the observing of, oh, well, that person doesn't think like me, but for now, for today, this is my truth. This might not be my truth in a few weeks if someone shows me a higher way, but right now I'm here and that person's there, and that's okay. I can still reach across the divide to create a better place for both of us. That's the highest octave of Aquarian energy. The lower octave of Pluto in Aquarius is complete and utter destruction. Wanting to come in and annihilate the other side because you're in the truth, your side's better, and they shouldn't exist. And boy, aren't we seeing a lot of that in the world now. Look at Ukraine. Look at other parts of the world where superpowers globally are just like this, right? In a very tentative line, a very delicate balance between those things that are playing out in the world and the way we live our life, right? We're angry at a lot of things. We are being unfair with a lot of things. And that's really not the way we're supposed to be living. And there's a lot of energy that's going to come and play this way, but I implore you all to just stay in that beautiful love and stay in that that energy of, okay, I know some destruction is going to come, because maybe, and just being open a little bit to the fact that you don't know everything, that your way maybe isn't completely, rigidly, and without a doubt right. Maybe there are some things that need a little tweaking and a little perception, and maybe it's good if those things fall. Because in the space where they are no longer, you have the ability to put something so much better, right? That's embracing this energy. From the spring equinox, today's energy, Monday the 20th, to the new moon in Aries, to the moon in Aries, hitting all those planets in Aries, to Saturn in Pisces from last week, to Pluto going into Aquarius. That's the energy. Open, allow, forgive, heal. Those things where you're being tweaked to be angry, to be rigid, to go in a defense, to boom, boom, boom. Those things are the places you need to soften and open so that we can come into a space where maybe they can feel better. Because let me ask you, doesn't it feel like really uncomfortable when you get angry and you get defiant and you get defensive? That's a really uncomfortable thing. But when you're just the observer and you can find that place of love and you can find that place of fairness, of equality, where all that energy that you're expelling out on someone can be harnessed inside to bring you to a better place and create something beautiful in your own world, in your own life, whether that's doing something for others or a project or bringing your life just to a better place. Wouldn't that feel so much better? And that's how we will create utopia. It doesn't exist yet because every single person, individual on the planet isn't there individually. And that's the energy of the Aquarian age that we're not in. because of that. So it makes a lot of sense when you think about it, right? So I hope this isn't too heady for you guys, but I thought a lot about this podcast, and I was like, you're going to get too heady. They just call in because they want cards, or they, you guys, a lot of times, my beautiful followers, like this including community, even myself, hey, I want a card once in a while too, right? So I get it, but what's the sense of seeking guidance if we're not taking a little bit of time to go into our own individual person, do a ritual, do some kind of moon ceremony, really be in this energy? What is your body feeling? Asking ourselves, what is this discomfort? What is this unease I'm feeling? Why am I unsettled? Why does that news item make me unsettled? Why does that coworker sitting at the next desk just drive me crazy, right? We've got to do that. Otherwise, me pulling a card for you, or you going for a reading, or me going for a reading, if I haven't done that work for me, for myself, like, it means nothing. And I want our beautiful soul space to mean something. I want our time together to mean something. I want it to mean something for me. And in doing so, I need you guys to be open to show me things. I need you guys to not just come in and want my words. I want to hear your words, because in that, I'm going to be blooming. I'm going to be blossoming. I'm going to be like having my aha moments, right? So that's where I want to take this all. And this video is so important because of the new moon, because of the 0 point energy that we had. We can create a community here that is a real powerhouse for bringing us to where we want to be in our lives by supporting each other. So just pack that with you, tuck it someplace in your heart and bring it out and think about it. I'd love to hear what you guys would like from this space. And from me, because I want to step up into being a better human on the planet and giving more. And I want to also take a little more from you guys, because there are cracks in my driveway that I need to seal. And maybe you have an experience that's going to help me do that. So that's really, my little thing about why this video is so kind of deep. And also, guys, I'm a Scorpio moon. I'm deep as heck. So my stellium in Scorpio. So want to go through a couple of advice for you, guidance for you guys, because I know this will help you on the days. So Monday, today we have this beautiful spring equinox. Try to go out and ground in nature, especially where I am here in the Northeast of America. We have sun. So try and really absorb that light of this beautiful, fresh 0 point energy of 0 degree of Aries, where the sun is, because that is the energy of creation. It can have the ability to put you in a space of connection, union with the divine spirit, with God, with a place where you are just feeling free and flowing. Time may today really move very quickly for you. You may get lost in time if you're doing something creative. It's that beautiful type of energy. So try and go out in nature. Tomorrow, new moon, do a ritual either this evening or tomorrow, anytime, even in tomorrow evening, where you are releasing heavy stuff. The Aries wants to take it and burn it away for you. Chiron is in Aries right now, the planet of healing. Jupiter, the planet of expansion, is in Aries right now, and Mercury is in Aries right now. So if you can do some kind of a releasing ceremony, write down stuff, burn it, candle gaze, bonfire, anything like that, a releasing ceremony, which we usually do on the full moon, but I'm going to tell you guys to do on the new moon, because with the 0 point energy with the new moon, it's super creation, super manifesting. You only can do that best if you let go of what was past and let go of what's keeping you stuck. So when that new moon comes in, Monday night, Tuesday evening, do some kind of a new moon ritual where you are releasing, but then also igniting, planting your seeds, journaling, writing down what you want to manifest, giving it to the moon, allowing the moon to speak to you, meditating on envisioning the forwardness. So release to go forward. Don't just do a releasing ceremony. You have to also ignite the energy to move forward. Yoga Nidra is a really good thing to do. Any kind of deep meditation, any kind of new moon ceremony where you are opening your heart, inviting things in, clearing the sacral, clearing the root chakras before you do that. Then Wednesday is the day when you've got the 20th, 21st, then that Wednesday is the 22nd, and into the 23rd is the energy where we do have Pluto going into Aquarius. You want to set yourself right. This is an energy. It's not like you're going to feel it like that. It's there for 20 years. I'm talking this energy for the next 20 some odd years. So, but when you do it, what you want to maybe say a ritual or meditation, about is, again, bring me into my next step of my spiritual journey. My mother always used to say, when you sneeze, it means it's true. Little superstitions. You want to set an intention for when Pluto goes into Aquarius. Please allow me to be open to my spiritual journey, to bring me to my next step with gentleness and ease. That's the kind of energy that you want to set up. If there's something troubling you, something bringing you discomfort, pray that the destruction or moving of that energy, the shifting, the transmutation, the transiting, the transformation, the purification, all of those words, choose one. That is the energy to move forward in, will be gentle, with ease, gentleness and ease, because Pluto can come in and be the wrecking ball of the zodiac. So then Thursday is actually the day when Pluto goes into Aquarius. But again, we've got the moon coming into all that Aryan energy as it hits those planets in Aries. So you're going to have an emotional week with that. But it's something that will be not as intense as last week, but it's something you can work through, because as each thing comes, it's going to give you new insight. It's going to bring you forward, forward, forward. This energy doesn't want to give you emotion to stick you in the past and make you feel badly or make you feel uncomfortable. The energy might make you feel uncomfortable because it wants you to move forward. All right. Other thing I wanted to say was that the changes that are going to come, you're going to get glimpses of these changes because Pluto does retrograde back into Capricorn for a little bit in a few months. But the changes that you're seeing come gradually, and watch what happens in the news and globally too, because you're going to see a lot of changes come. We've got Trump's indictments coming down this week. We've got scandals with the Biden family coming down here in America. We've got things with Putin and Jinping meeting for conferences. There's a lot of global energy shifting now. I don't want to be entrenched in that, but I'm just observing it. And how does that parallel what's going on in my life? Am I having an energy power shift? Is there a power dynamic that's shifting now that maybe was imbalance going into balance, or something that was balanced coming out of balance, to show me where my power shift needs to be more of a easier, more gentle energy line? Are there places where my power is being diluted, that I feel small, that Pluto's going to really show me and amplify so that I kick him to the curb so that I become larger? Are there places I'm too big in power where Pluto's going to kick that stuff to the curb so that I adjust and become more humble? So look at what's going on in the world globally as an observation of how it's paralleling your life, because those glimpses are going to show you the harbingers of how this Aquarian energy with Pluto there, Pluto in Aquarius, is going to come into your life. It's going to show you the shifts of power dynamics, the constructs that it wants to bring in, and what you really need to let go of. That's, what's coming up now. And again, it's not going to happen like that. This is a 20-year time frame. So you're going to get these glimpses, and how easy and how rough it is also depends on you and how well you work your Pluto, work your Saturn, right? And then Thursday into a Friday, I was going to say the events that are going to let us glimpse the layers of what will come are also going to allow us to glimpse our past layers. And these are going to be things where, things are going to start to come to the surface this week as same way they did last week. And this is because we've got the moon conjuncting Venus and Uranus once it goes into Taurus. And that's the things we love. Sudden, unexpected things will happen. A lot of times when that happens, it can be endings of relationships, ending of perceptions of relationships, where you have these shifts you've been waiting for. It's like breakups or breakthroughs. Can also be your own breakout. I'm not taking it anymore. I'm done with this, right? That's the energy that'll also be coming in a lot, and you'll see that play out. And then we're going to have a lot of that kind of energy, like I said, about, that Mars in Cancer, that defensive energy. Maybe you want to crawl into your shell. Don't. I explained how to use the energy more for asserting yourself forward, that aggression. We're going to have a lot of conflict in the world as people want to hold on to tradition. You even see it, I'm not making a political statement. I don't say my politics here, but you have slogans such as "Make America Great Again." That's wanting to take you into the past tradition. It should be just, let's make America great, or let's move into, let's make America great in the future. That is the energy, and makes people cling to a past that is impossible to redo. It's impossible to bring back. We are changed. We are different. The world has changed. We need to bring some of those constructs, if they're your truth, into the future. Likewise with other things, anywhere you see people trying to hold on to the past. Oh, I don't want an electric powered car. Well, maybe that's going to happen. I don't particularly want an electric powered car either. But you know what? I might have to let go of that construct. So it could be anything like that we're going to start to glimpse. But people are going to want to just hold on to it all. Like, no, we can't let tradition go. And there are some traditions that have merit, but we have to find a way to do them within the new world, within the new energy that we're in the revolution of energy, right? There will also be coming into Saturday, this energy, a lot of energy into Saturday. And it's good because we can use this energy for moving ourselves forward. Don't think it's bad. But also, watch your words in this energy, because you will see a lot of people saying things they really shouldn't say. But as I said, great day for forgiveness all the way into next week. We have that beautiful healing forgiveness energy. Also, the energy coming in the 26th and 27th, where the planets are in the zodiac, will somehow bring us back to the great conjunction that we had. That was that December 2020 conjunction where we had Jupiter and Saturn and Pluto all together in Capricorn. That's an energy that will come in again because we are actually squaring some of those points with a half square. Not to get too technical for you, something will arise that you felt during that time. I remember being out at our local bay and seeing that beautiful thing and knowing that it was going to ignite some really important energy in my life. So now that energy is actually coming into materialization, where I'm really stepping into my authentic self in a powerful way. So those are the kind of things that will happen. If you had some kind of challenge during that time, it may bring that back up. But, energy is never good or bad. It's just energy. It's constantly transmuting and changing. It never dies. It's up to us with our divine power to transmute it into what we want, right? So I'm going to leave you with this. We talked about Pluto in Aquarius and it wanting to destroy, and I'll talk more about Pluto in Aquarius on the next podcast, and I'll also be posting a lot of things. But what I want to also tell you is that Pisces and Saturn, Saturn and Pisces, I'm sorry, with Pluto in Aquarius are actually two very dynamic energies, very powerful energies that really want us to get into the emotions and the structures in our beliefs. When Pluto was in Capricorn, it was all about the structures, and that's why we saw the Capitol being stormed and all these things happening that were very material. And when I say material, like you can touch it, feel it. It's a material thing in the material world. It has mass. It has a structure. You can feel it. The chair I'm sitting on, it's a material thing. It's real in the world, right? That was the energy of Pluto in Capricorn, destroying things that were real, that you could touch and feel, and it was here, right? Pluto in Aquarius and Saturn in Pisces is more about the subtle. It's more about the emotional body, what we're feeling. It's not, this is the truth, I have to take a hammer and break a window. It's, this is my truth, and I have to do something that shores up my emotions, my belief systems, and my energetic subtle body. It's more of a subtle nature. It's more of coming into that perception, that psychology, that spirituality, the astrology, whatever is your modality. It's more that. So this is a lot to do with our minds. And I will be shocked if these energies that we're coming into now, this birth of really, truly a completely new energy cycle for all of us in the globe, our world, our universe, even beyond our Earth, I will be completely shocked if this doesn't somehow bring us such an expanded consciousness of perception, of communication, communicating with other realms, other beings, other realities where we don't use the language and the words we have. This is really energy going into the subtle emotional body, the power where we truly, our minds and our essence, our energy can move things that are material, can have thoughts that are not tangible in this energetic world. This is about the human beings expanding our species to go way beyond whatever you can dream, and beyond that, things which we have not dreamed yet, that we don't even perceive. We're really coming into that time over the next 20, 30, 40 years. I probably won't see most of this in my lifetime, but that doesn't mean I can't be excited about it and do my part in the world to really act cosmically for this and open and expand the universe and myself, right? It starts at home. So that's our podcast for today. I'd love it if you guys could share the show. I'm going to be with you every step of the way. We're going to be guiding each other. You're going to be guiding me with your wisdom and your knowledge in the Zencuda Soul Space and on all our Zencuda platforms. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. We have a minuscule amount of subscribers there, and I really need a lot more subscribers because I want to do our lives there and make that a community where you're all getting to know each other and talking without the borders, the constructs, and the restrictions of the communication on social media platforms that we use now. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can find me on Zencuda Official on Instagram, Zencuda Soul Space on Facebook, and also on Zencuda on YouTube. Thank you so much for supporting my work, supporting your own work. I am here to support your work, and together, hopefully, we'll become that beautiful utopia that doesn't exist yet, that we know as living Zencuda. Thanks so much. I'll see you guys next Monday at 7 or not before. Bye-bye.